What's up to all my favorite people on the internet? We're back. Oh man, that music. I mean, the elevator music is good, but that last little bit really fires me up every time we have to do this. Or we get to do this. Have to do this sounds like it's an option. Have to do it. No, we like doing it. We like being here.
It sounded different today or looked different today, but maybe I was just looking at it I don't know, at a different angle. It felt different.
I feel like I'll have to talk to Hailey after. I feel like last community call there was like a change. Maybe I don't know. No, I'm seeing like head shaking in the lobby. I don't know. Maybe we're hallucinating that it changed. But it does fire me up. What's new, Grace? What's happening?
Not much. Trying to think. Got Eras tour tickets this weekend. That was exciting.
Yeah, Grace,
Going
for the audience, Grace is I don't know, like an elite Swiftie. And this is like this is the second time, right?
This is the second time I have my box from the last time I went right there, and my friendship bracelets right there.
Yeah.
So I'm prepared.
That's a pile? That's like a pile.
Yeah. Yeah. I gave away most of mine, so I only have like 20 now. Yeah, that's my pile, and I'm gonna have many more like 13 or 14 months from now when I go next November.
You know, I'm not like a Taylor Swift hater, but I'm not like an ultra fan like you are, but I'm excited for you. I'm very excited for you. I don't have anything as like, I don't know, as exciting as that. My cats turned 3 yesterday. Well, 2 of my 3 cats. And that was a big moment.
Are they siblings?
2 of them are siblings. Yes, they're sisters.
I did not know that.
Yeah, we because they're like just rescue cats, our present to them was buying cat DNA tests to find out what breeds they are, which is absolutely wild that exists. But anyway, well, it's community call time. The screen share is, I feel like, taking longer. Maybe it's because we have so many people in the lobby.
Yeah, this does feel suspiciously long.
I'm just concerned. I'm assuming that no one can see a screen share right now, right?
I can't see it.
I can't either. Very interesting.
Blank.
What if I jinxed us by saying I never had to enact the Hailey hammer. I don't know what's happening. Maybe I'll try resharing. This makes it relatable though.
Yeah.
That, AZD team members are just like you. We also still struggle with this 3 years later. Okay. Okay, now it's here. Okay, great. I just removed it and re-added it and did nothing different. I love that.
That's always goes.
Yes, I see Christian is here. There was nothing. Hopefully there's something. Y'all can tell us in the chat. But I see it, so we're good, I think, maybe. Okay. So we had a release last week for AZD 1.2.0. And in this community call, we've got, again, as usual, some demos. We have of features. We also have a demo of a template that was released by the Jumpstart team. And we also have some coverage or a chat about breaking changes to our AKS support. So we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. And then, as usual, fire up the questions, pop them in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. And then we'll probably have some time at the end just to have a casual conversation. Okay. If you're new here, I do this every month and I'm like, maybe there are new people. We should probably who are these people you're going to see on this call? This is our team. This is like, I think it's everyone, but there's like a million people that help with the Azure Developer CLI. We have a subset of these wonderful people in our community call today. If you see us on GitHub or some of us are on Twitter, say hi, give us feedback. We'd love to hear from you. General announcements. There are 3 things I wanted to cover kind of at the top of the show today. First is that we promoted Azure Spring Apps from alpha to beta this release. So you no longer have to enable it with a feature flag. You can just use an ASA template as you wish. So if you have feedback, of course, keep giving feedback as we continue to work to get Spring Apps up to stable. Kai, hello. I see Kai says hi. We say hi back. Thanks for being here. What else is happening? We've got a new Azure Pipelines task that we published to the marketplace. So if you remember this past release, but the release before, we announced a GitHub action that we published to the marketplace called Setup AZD. Now, instead of curl installing AZD into your pipeline, you can just use the GitHub action, or now an Azure Pipelines task that you can access through aka.ms-asdo-task. So definitely try that out if you're using Azure Pipelines. We'd love any feedback around that. And then Grace, do you want to talk about the last bullet here?
Sure, yeah. We have a new Learn path that's out. There's 3 modules. One's like kind of an intro to AZD, like what is it? Why would you use it? The next one's kind of like getting started and deploying for the first time. And then the third one is actually like building a template. You start with one of our minimal kind of skeleton templates, and then you're going to build up to like a full app from there. That actually came out, we should have said it in the last community call, and I just completely forgot about it, even though it's a super cool and exciting thing. And if you're interested in learning more about AZD and like really getting started working with it, but weren't totally sure where to start, this is a great place to begin.
To be fair, it wasn't fully ready last community call. We had one of the modules published, and now we have a full learning pathway end to end. So don't sell yourself short, Grace.
There will be plenty more to come, though. If there are things that you think would be helpful to have a learn path for, definitely let us know that. We want to make it. We want to give you the tools you need to do what you want to do, and there will certainly be more coming.
Definitely. Always, there's probably other modules we'll end up adding there too. So
yeah,
great start though. Okay, we're going into feature demos. We're already there. We like to cut right to it. All right, we're gonna bring up a person who's been here before many times. One of our favorite folks on the team. Actually, we like everyone, but it's Matt. Hi, Matt.
Hello. Yeah, so I'm here and I'm presenting this work, but actually we have to give the props to Victor, who's not here. He actually did all this stuff. I was just saying looks good to me, but he had the foresight to go on vacation, so he's celebrating the release of being able to preview these changes by taking a vacation and getting me to present his work for him. So this is something we added in the newest release. AZD provision now supports a -- preview flag. For folks who don't know, this is a feature that the ARM deployment engine has supported called what if deployments. So if you're familiar with the AZ CLI or PowerShell, you might have heard these called what if deployments before. We can now do a what if deployment and sort of show you the changes that are going to happen to your infrastructure by passing this -- preview flag. So there's 2 screenshots here. This is with the to-do Mongo template, sort of our standard template. The first is before we've done the initial provision. And so you can get a feel for what resources is this template going to create if I deploy it, right? If you find some new template and you want to just sort of see what you're going to get, you can do this preview and sort of see everything that's going to get created. The second is after we've done that initial deploy, sort of showing what happens if you run a preview again and pointing out sort of you can see, okay, some resources won't change. Others are listed as modifications. In this case, this is showing an issue that exists with the what if deployment today, where sometimes ARM is not sure if a value will change, especially when you're referencing one piece of infrastructure to another. It won't be certain if something's going to change. And so it's conservative and says, oh, it might get modified when you go and do the deployment. It actually won't change those. So something we're looking at adding in a future release is a more detailed view here. So you can kind of see what pieces are going to change and what the values are going to change to and from. So you can have a little more confidence about what's going to happen when you actually go to the provision. But today we're sort of able to show at a high level what's coming back from that what if deployment. So the screenshots here show bicep-based deployments, but this also works with Terraform. If you're using Terraform, preview just ends up doing a TF plan and sort of rendering that plan for you. And so, yeah, that's kind of what we've added. And I think it's super useful, especially for I've pulled down some new thing and I just kind of want to see what it's going to get created instead of having to read a bunch of bicep and see, oh, here's all the resources that are going to be created. So that's a preview.
Yeah. And we have people in the chat. We got Chris. Chris loves -- preview. Huge fan. And Christian also saying that it's a great new feature. I think it's the thing that was missing to give people the confidence when they're actually changing their infrastructure as code in AZD. So I was really excited for us to land this in 1.2.0. Very cool. Any questions about this feature or any feedback or thoughts that folks in the chat want to share? We can also bring Matt back later. And you can grill him some more on provisioning changes when he was just the looks good to me guy. Put him on the spot. Make sure that Victor can laugh at this later. I don't know. Okay, cool. Well, thanks, Matt. We'll see you in a bit. Okay, what is next? Another person that we've had on the call many times before, our friend Wallace. Wallace, tell us about hints for refreshing metadata in environments.
Yeah, hey everybody. Thanks for having me again. So this feature solves a couple little pain points and also leads up to some other cool features that are coming in later versions of AZD. But everybody's kind of on their journey of integrating AZD into their kind of development stack. And so one of the cool things that this hit feature does is kind of give you the ability to link your AZD project out to infrastructure that has been already provisioned, through maybe it's your legacy way of doing things or manual ARM or bicep deployments. And basically you can say, okay, I want to refresh my AZD environment from this kind of already existing provisioning that happened from some other tool. And so basically you can give it a partial name of an Azure deployment name. And that will basically connect to that deployment, bring that down. And now, any of the outputs that were previously exposed by that previous deployment are now accessible to AZD. They're stored inside the AZD environment variables that we have today in the .env file. And now you can do an AZD deploy out to that infrastructure that was provisioned through other means. So that's kind of one use case today. It also kind of opens up the idea of environment sharing a little bit. And, we're continually investing in this kind of shared environment story. And again, we have some more cool features in the works. But basically you could have, you two people on a dev team kind of sharing environments through this feature as well. So somebody could share it and they could have, one deployment name and you could kind of hint to that and refresh it locally on your side as well. So if you're looking at the screen share here, you saw a quick little demo here. You just pass a -- hint flag and it will go ahead and use that kind of as a fuzzy match search. And if there happens to be multiple matches on that, you will also get kind of a pick list to choose from. So in this case, you see there's 2 and we selected 1 and then it shows, how we basically hydrated all those outputs into your environment variables. So quick little feature, but it kind of opens the doors to some of these exciting new things to come.
Yeah, I also really like this, even just for my own work when I'm like working on my work machine on something and then I need to I switch over to my personal machine to work on something. If I'm working on a template, then I can pull down all the metadata and keep working pretty seamlessly without having to go to the portal and figure out what the right name was. I generally can get pretty close with just the hint, so that's pretty cool. Cool. Any questions about hints for environment refresh? Going once, going twice. Okay, cool. Well, thanks, Wallace.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
See you in a bit. Okay, what next? Oh, I'm playing the video again. Okay, this one is one I am super excited that we were able to release. We were working on it for quite some time. And we have, Daniel, you've been on this call before, I think, right?
Yes, it's been a while. It's great to be back.
Yes. Do you want to tell us about your work on the Cloud Shell integration?
Yes, we just added AZD into Cloud Shell. So that means that the AZD tool is now built into the Cloud Shell image. And you can access Cloud Shell with that little icon up at the top part of the Azure portal window. And you can use Bash or PowerShell with it. And we also support .NET, Java, JS, and Python runtimes. Those things are batteries included in PowerShell for you. And what PowerShell is it's a Bash prompt or a PowerShell prompt that's authenticated into Azure that you can run directly from inside the browser, so you don't have to install anything. If you've got a browser, you can start working on AZD deployments. And this is an environment that is, like I said, it's already authenticated. So you've got authentication for free. You can just type AZD up and get going. We support other authentication methods as well, device code and service principal. And it's just a place for you to get started with a project, and you've got everything that you need to get going. You don't have to install anything special on your computer. There are a couple of limitations here. There's no Docker daemon that's running inside of Cloud Shell, so you don't have you can't deploy the Docker build that you would need to run our ACA templates is not going to work in this case. But the other things that are deploying on Metal work just fine. Another limitation that we'd like to point out is that Cloud Shell will time out after 20 minutes. So if you've got a little tab open with your browser session there in Cloud Shell, you need to keep sending some sort of events to it, like mouse clicks, to let it know that you're still there if you have a long deployment. Most deployments, or a lot of deployments, will finish in under 20 minutes, but 20 minutes is that upper bound. So just send a key event or a little bit of a mouse wiggle on that console while it's going. And then let's see. I could do a demo, but we just talked through it. There's probably not a whole lot to show on that.
Yeah. I think one thing I'm really excited about Cloud Shell support enabling is potentially integrating it into some of the docs. Honestly, I think I don't have to install AZD to get started is pretty powerful. So I'm excited to see how we can make our docs even simpler. We do have a question about Cloud Shell. Where the infra and app sources be on the storage attached to Cloud Shell?
That's correct. When you pull down a template or do any kind of sync, it is going to be in that storage account that is attached to Cloud Shell. And if you want, you can authenticate Git and push to GitHub or Azure DevOps or any other Git location. But it's basically just going to be on the file system in Cloud Shell when you start.
Cool. Very cool. We also had a question around plans to bring AZD to DevBox. And actually, there is already a DevBox compatible image for that's the Visual Studio 2022 image that does include AZD in it. I can drop a link. I think the easiest way for me to share it would probably be to drop the link in the chat. But if you take a look at that, there's I've never actually sent a chat message in here, so that's pretty interesting. There is AZD is installed in that image, so if you were to use that, you'd be good to go. Cool. Any other thoughts about Cloud Shell for Daniel?
While we're waiting, I just want to say shout out to DevBox. I love it. I use it every day.
Nice. I haven't played too much with DevBox. I am like a hardcore code spaces user though. So it's like, code spaces plus. So very cool. Cool. All right. Well, thanks, Daniel.
Thanks.
All right. See ya later. All right. I feel like I have so much power every time I summon someone and then take them off the screen, and I could change the layout, Oh.
Whenever you say bye and then someone disappears, I'm like, whoa.
I can do anything. So much power,
all
right?
powerful.
Right. There's all these layouts in front of me. I could change anything with just a click of a button. Okay. Those were kind of our feature demos today. We have some friends from the Jumpstart team who are going to talk to us a little bit about Jumpstart Agora. I'm going to bring Dale and Chris Harris onto the screen. Hey, folks, how's it going?
Great. Hey, how are y'all? Great to be here.
Cool.
Doing great. Thanks, Savannah. Hi, Grace.
Yeah.
Well,
yes, we know Chris. Chris is on our PM team too. So cool. I was really excited to be able to share out Jumpstart Agora in our monthly release blog post. And I'm super excited to have both of you on the chat, because this is, I think, a super interesting use case and a little bit of something for everyone. So do you want to give a bit of an overview and a demo for Agora?
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely love AZD. By the way, Chris actually introduced me to it when we first kicked off the work, and I've been loving it and evangelizing it ever since. So props to the team for it. It's a great
Yay.
tool. So what is Agora though? So if you're not familiar with the Azure Arc Jumpstart, Azure Arc Jumpstart is effectively, it's a site that you can go to that has over 100 different scenarios. It's got 2 different sandboxes in the form of ArcBox and HCI Box that allow our customers and partners to really quickly get started exploring use case focused Azure Arc and Azure Edge and hybrid technology. And Jumpstart Agora is really the next evolution of the Arc Jumpstart that really brings an industry lens to that kind of scenario focused accelerators for partners and customers that are looking to kind of capitalize on our hybrid and our edge products. And so Agora itself means marketplace. You can think of Jumpstart Agora as a marketplace of these industry focused accelerators that allow, like I said, customers to really quickly get started with how our edge technology might fit into specific industry types of scenarios. Our first release with Agora is in the retail space. So we have something called Contoso Supermarket that's using things like AKS Edge Essentials. It's using Cosmos DB. It's using OpenVINO and computer vision intelligence and a number of other aspects to really bring a kind of full-fledged intelligent retail solution built on Azure Edge technology. And what the automation that Jumpstart brings to this type of solution is fully end-to-end automated solution, end-to-end infrastructure deployment, infrastructure as code. It's got a full CI/CD pipeline built on things like GitHub Actions and GitOps with the Flux operator to have pretty much everything a customer would need to quickly get started by plugging in their own application into this framework to really start to capitalize on our edge technologies for, in this case, for a retail industry, and we've got many more industries planned like manufacturing, healthcare, you name it. And so one of the challenges we have with standing up this kind of infrastructure is that it's complex. There's a lot of different moving parts and pieces. There's also a lot of prerequisites. I want to go into a demo real quick and kind of show you, what it looks like for a user who's consuming the Jumpstart. So I'll flip over to my screen here. So I'm on the Jumpstart landing page right now. By the way, take a note of that URL. That's where you go to. It's a public URL. Anyone can visit this. And when you first come to the Jumpstart, you're going to get instructions on how do I deploy, in this case, the Contoso Supermarket application. So you can see here some of the architecture. If you take a look at what's involved in this, there's a point of sale system. There's a manager kind of control center that's got that computer vision happening behind the scenes for things like checkout queue monitoring. There's an IoT hub that's ingesting sensor telemetry from freezer monitors and things like that for food safety type of applications. And of course, it's all built on our edge technology like AKS Edge Essentials. There's Cosmos DB in there. There's other kind of adjacent services like Monitor, like Defender for security. So it's a fairly complex set of infrastructure. If I look at what's actually stood up inside of Azure, once you deploy this, you see there's a lot going on. There's three edge Kubernetes clusters. There's a staging cluster in the cloud. I mentioned there's a Cosmos DB, and there's a number of other kind of related artifacts. So it's quite a bit of infrastructure that you're going to deploy. Now, we make it really easy for our users in that we provide all the infrastructure as code to really pretty much run one deployment and have all this infrastructure stood up and automatically configured as part of the process. However, if I look at some of the prerequisites that users need to have in place before they can really run their deployment, it starts to get a little bit of complexity. I don't want to say it's a lot, but there is some complexity that, especially for users that are new to, for example, creating a service principal, or that might have never created an SSH key before, they have to have these things in place. And so this has historically been a real pain point for our users that don't have that experience in terms of creating a service principal, creating an SSH key, making sure that they have enough capacity in the Azure region where they want to deploy it to, because it does require some capacity. Is it going to actually work in the region they picked? All these kind of things need to be checked. We've got detailed instructions for them to go through to make sure that they can check all these things, but it's still been somewhat of a pain point. But what AZD has really done for us is it's really made it super easy for users to not have to worry about any of that. So if I flip over to my shell here, I can run just one command, AZD up, and that's going to automatically prompt the user for the subscription they want to deploy to. It's going to do things like automatically check for available capacity in a given region to make sure that we can actually deploy all the resources that we need. It'll automatically create the service principal and assign the right permissions to that. It'll automatically write the SSH key where it needs to go. And then of course, it also automatically deploys all the infrastructure and provisions the source from GitHub into the application. So very hands-on, but also guided through the AZD experience. And I loved it so much that I actually already added this to other products in Jumpstart. So we already have support for this for HCI box, which requires a similar set of service principal provisioning, SSH key, all that kind of stuff. So we're starting to add AZD support for pretty much any Jumpstart solution moving forward. It's really simplified things really greatly for our users. And we've already seen, I think, a reduction in the number of tickets and things that are coming in from users that are having challenges with things, like I mentioned, creating the service principal or things like that. So we love it. It's been great. And I can't wait to see more and more Jumpstart scenarios start to use it.
Love to hear that it's made things a lot simpler. I love the use of the hooks to check for capacity. I think that's like a really nice user experience, and it's like super guided. And I think a lot of that kind of fiddly stuff on Azure is stuff that trips people up. So I love seeing our hooks used there, and also that it's useful beyond even just the Agora use case.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome. Cool. Chris, I know you've also been working on this a little bit with Dale. I guess like what are your takeaways, or like kind of what are your favorite things about kind of this integration so far? Oh, are you muted?
I was.
Like I said, AZD team, people at Microsoft, we're just like you. We still haven't figured this out.
That's right. So no, my favorite part in all of it really was the timing. I started working with the Jumpstart team and working on the developer experience with them. And at the same time, AZD was coming out and kind of like really getting started. And it hit me very quickly when I started having to do manual deployments of Jumpstart that I needed to automate this. And so that's when I basically pulled AZD in and got it going. And I was able to kick off, like, I know that Dale really talked about the end user experience, and I think it's fantastic. It's much more straightforward. It's not that the other experience was that difficult. There's just a lot of steps, and it's well documented. It's all easy to follow, but it's a lot of steps. But the thing that is really nice is, as a developer, meaning part of the team working on this scenario, we were able to wrap that deployment in AZD. And then as we're going through that inner loop, developing the features for Jumpstart, we're able to quickly kick off new deployments, to the point where in my case, it was one command line and it would kick off the whole deployment, and even like go through the process of opening up a Windows terminal connection to the VM, so that it would finish some of the provisioning steps that happen there. It's a really, really nice way to be able to start something off and then go get some coffee and then come back, and things are gone. And I know that the automation is happening. It's very smooth and consistent.
Yeah.
So it's been a great approach. I love working with it.
Yeah. And I think that really is the essence of AZD, right? It's like, it's possible for you to go off and do all of these things and walk through all those steps, but like we really want to accelerate that journey for you getting started, or facilitating deployment, and really like orchestrate a bunch of work on your behalf so you can focus on like business logic or other things, whatever you want to focus on, right? And so yeah, that's super awesome to hear. I don't know. I still the use of hooks here is still, I think, my favorite thing about this template.
Yeah, the hooks are great. And we were just chatting yesterday about another one that we'd like to add in here, just to eliminate another potential issue with checking for available public IP addresses.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to do some things like that. And it's a point that's tripped a couple people up. We're like, hey, we can prevent that. We can let you know early instead of waiting until 15 minutes into the deployment.
One of our
And-
sorry, Chris. One of our Jumpstart philosophies has always been the user will not fail. And this really is like perfectly meshes with that, because it just eliminates so many of those, like you said, Chris, those potential tripwires that are going to make you have a little bit of a hiccup before you finally get to the actual meat of what you're trying to get to, the business logic, the actual use case. So it's just really been great to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point about it too, Dale. For Jumpstart, like the part that we as Microsoft want customers to learn is not the deployment phase. We just need them to go through the deployment phase so that they can get to the deployed set of applications, and they can start exploring, and they can check out the supermarket app and look at the dashboards and see how the IoT data flows and all of those things. That's the important part. So the simpler we can make the deployment, the better it is for us, the better it is for them. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean that the deployment bits, or even like the cloud bits, right, are often like a hurdle on the path from A to B, where A is the problem you're trying to solve and B is the solution that serves your customers or your audience, right? And so like if we can make that as simple as possible, I feel like that's a huge developer experience when. Cool. Leor in the chat says that Jumpstart Agora is fire, and the AZD integration makes it so easy. We love that. We love that. Okay. Well, thanks for the demo. This is super, super awesome. Look forward to more Jumpstart goodness coming soon.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for popping on the call. Cool. Okay. I'm going to say bye to Chris and Dale. We might bring you back in a bit, but we have one more thing we want to talk about, which is all right, I had to click 3 buttons. There wasn't a single button, and that just threw me right off, y'all. Okay, I'm going to bring my 4 buttons to bring this back. It's not, look at this. I click it. It's not working again.
Oh, no.
I'm going to have to stop stream. Okay. Bear with us, folks. StreamYard is not loving it today. I don't know what's going on. I really jinxed us today. I literally was praising StreamYard earlier for never wronging me. Oh, rookie mistake. Okay.
I think Hailey mentioned we were approaching our like max capacity for people in the call, so maybe that.
We were stress testing it. Yeah, we were pushing it to the limit today. Too much good stuff with AZD this month. All right. Oh, breaking changes. We're gonna bring Wallace to talk about breaking changes. Wallace, tell us about breaking changes for AKS. That was so dramatic. I was like exhaling and like, oh God. No, it's good. Okay, tell us about the breaking changes.
Yeah, sorry. Thanks for having me back. So we do have a couple of breaking changes. So ever since we released AZD, we had kind of AKS support built in, and we're officially calling it kind of like beta support on the initial launch. So we have been kind of learning from the community, taking feedback from the community, and kind of seeing where we could improve our support for AKS. And so, some of the things we heard about was really causing some pain. So one of those things in particular was around our kind of automatic environment variable replacement. So it works great in simple scenarios, but when you're dealing with AKS, there's a whole bunch of kind of complex interactions and scenarios that people need to support and deliver. And some of the automatic replacement was really just kind of acting up, if you will. So, things that were looking like bash type variables were getting replaced when they shouldn't be. So we wanted to avoid some of this complexity. And so we're removing the automatic environment replacements and making it kind of like an opt-in feature. So instead of these replacements happening for all of your YAML manifest files, you can now opt in by creating templates. And if any of you have done kind of Helm chart development, the templating syntax is the same that you would use in Helm charts. It's not quite Helm, which is on our roadmap to fully support. But in the meantime, we have Go text templating templates available to you. And basically all you need to do to opt into those things is to rename the YAML files that you want to be replaced just to be a .tmpl.yaml file. And then from there, you could use the text templating syntax. And we have an example screenshot on the screen here with a line highlighted. So basically, this is a example of a user wanting to create a config map and pulling in some environment variables from AZD into that config map. So we'll post. There'll be a whole bunch of docs and other things to kind of give people the help that they need to create these text templates. But basically, it's an opt-in feature now instead of the automatic thing. And kind of along those same lines is we were trying to make it super easy for people to reference things like these environment variables. So prior to this, we were kind of creating a secret in AKS with all of these variables, and people were like, "Hey, why are you doing that? Don't make my life that easy." So then we decided to just make this an opt-in feature as well. So if you want things like environment variables in a config map or secrets, it's up to you all now to kind of just create those for yourself. So again, this config map is an example here where you can take the environment variables that you want, make them available in a config map or a secret, and then kind of go about the rest of your work here. So it's a small breaking change, but at the end of the day, I think it's the best for the community and the best for kind of future adoption scenarios.
Yeah, definitely. And we're still, AKS support for AZD is still in beta. And it's in beta and you can provide us feedback, but you should always provide us feedback for AZD. So you can do that by filing an issue or starting a discussion on our repo, and we would love to hear from you about what you need for AKS or what kind of Kubernetes work you're doing and how AZD can help there. Cool. All right. That was like, I made it sound so dramatic when I introduced you, and I'm really sorry about that. It wasn't, it really wasn't that big.
That's okay. Anytime you want to introduce more breaking changes, I'm happy to host them.
Okay. I'll sign you up to be that guy on our team. Everyone needs a teammate like that. Okay, great. All right. Thanks, Wallace.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, I cut him off. That was, I was like, well, I don't know. I have some lag, and so I clicked it for taking Dale and Chris off the screen. It took a second, and then I just clicked it, and then I cut Wallace off. Oh, StreamYard again, y'all. Grace, do you want to talk about community contributions?
Yeah, so as always, just wanted to take a minute to thank our community contributors. Pamela Fox, who is just a rock star community contributor. She updated the app service.bicep for the Python runtime. Amy Hollander fixed they fixed a role definition typo. And then Aaron Powell, he updated the templates to use the dev container feature, which was a big change there too. So thank you to these folks and everyone that contributes. We really appreciate it.
Yes, we love community contributions, and if you want to contribute to AZD and don't know where to get started, as usual, feel free to reach out to me or anyone else on the team. And I'm sure that there are many ways that you can contribute and get started, whether it's documentation or awesome AZD or writing your own template. We would love to chat with you. And love community contributions. It's great. I love open source software. All right.
And then, yeah, as always, calling for people to sign up to join our user research. We just kicked off our most recent one earlier this week. I think we've talked about it, application fingerprinting. So that's really cool. And that kind of sign up right now, like you can't sign up for that, but you can sign up for like future user research opportunities. So if you are interested in participating, we would love to have you and help us shape the future of AZD.
Yeah, and if you also want to provide just like general feedback, I'm always willing to hop on a quick call with someone for like 15-20 minutes if you've got like a tactical thing you want to discuss about AZD or have feedback on a particular feature. Always happy to chat. So definitely reach out as well if you don't want to sign up for user research and still want to give feedback. I'd love to chat with you. There's one other thing I was going to say about that. Oh, just the current user research we're doing. I think we announced that a couple community calls ago when we were talking a bit about what's coming for AZD, but for folks that may have missed that or don't remember, we're currently working on a feature which would help you onboard your app to Azure even quicker by inferring your local app stack and then kind of suggesting a service for you to use and then generating infrastructure as code for you and popping it into your project so that you can easily AZD up. It's a really exciting feature for our team. There is a GitHub issue for it. I should have pulled the link for that issue before the call, but definitely stay tuned for that. Really getting really good feedback this week from some of the folks that we're talking to. So really excited to deliver that in a future release.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna bring folks back. I'm gonna summon you all and hopefully it'll just work. I'm gonna remove this and then bring Matt and Wallace and Dale and Chris and Daniel back onto the screen. We did have a question come up around Agora while Wallace was chatting about the breaking changes in AKS. Agora deployed resources are paid, right? Is there a free sandbox environment available for learning? Thank you.
Sure, that's a good question. That's definitely one that comes up a lot. So yeah, Agora is a solution you deploy into an Azure subscription. So that could be either bring your own Azure subscription, which a lot of our users do, or it could be through some type of funding vehicle that you work with through your account team or your partner team if you're a Microsoft customer or partner. But it does deploy and needs to be deployed into an Azure subscription that you bring. So it's a good question.
Yeah, will it deploy to the free credits subscription?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing special about the Azure subscription that it needs to deploy to, other than it needs to have capacity, which, as I mentioned during the AZD demo, will check for capacity for you automatically. But yes, you need an Azure subscription. Everything else AZD will handle, including resource provider registration, checking for capacity, all that kind of stuff.
Cool. Awesome. Are there any other questions from folks in the chat? Otherwise, I can always go around the screen and ask AZD folks or Agora folks what they're most excited about that's coming down the pipe, which I think is always fun. Matt, tell us something you're excited about.
Something I'm excited about. Let's see. So I think we're Wallace kind of showed some of the investments we're making in AKS, and I think we're going to be doing some similar investments for folks just using the Azure Container Service. And so I think probably in the next couple of releases we'll see some of the similar templating stuff and things that we've seen in AKS make its way to the container service as well, which should be useful.
Nice. Moving us closer to the North Star, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Great. Wallace, is there anything you've been working on? Some pretty cool stuff lately?
Yeah, so we have a bunch of cool stuff coming out as we kind of march through the rest of the calendar year. I guess two particular things there. Number one, I kind of touched on that hint feature a bit. So we're working on kind of this better collaboration support for teams. So having kind of like this remote environment support, we're calling it right now, where environments can be shared by a group of developers. And, some things that we're looking at there is, sharing that environment out into kind of external resources like Azure Blob Storage, for example, so that you and your coworkers can work on the same AZD projects and collaborate better. We're also kind of making it easier for your own templates that people author to show up inside of AZD. So coming soon is kind of the AZD init experience or AZD template list experience. We're bringing awesome AZD directly into AZD in the future, so that your templates will now kind of be right there available to you. And also, if you're using AZD within an organization and your organization has authored your own kind of set of templates, you can kind of plug in those templates into AZD as well, and kind of that shared state support, so that you and everybody sees the same list of templates. So just making that Jumpstart experience that much easier for you and for your team.
Yeah, I'm super excited about those like pluggable template sources. I think even just from the including awesome AZD's template gallery, which has, I don't know, like 60 some templates at this point, getting those in product, which are both Microsoft and community authored, I think is super, super exciting, and maybe even more reason for folks to want to contribute templates to AZD, to the awesome AZD gallery. So very, very excited about that one. Cool. What else? What else? What else are folks interested in, or excited about, or what are folks in the chat interested in? I mean,
you brought up the templates. I mean, it's not Agora directly Agora related, but the templates are amazing. I must say, they're very thoroughly well designed, very thorough. I work in the global partner organization here at Microsoft in my day job, and I've already used templates because of my excitement about AZD. I'm talking about AZD with partners. And the templates have been a great Kickstarter for a number of partner projects that almost were plug and play for the types of solutions that they were looking to build. So that's been just another boon from Chris telling me all about AZD and how great it is, and working with it with the Jumpstart. That also translates over to the partner work that I do. And again, having those templates that are, again, like I said, just really well designed, very thorough, accounting for all the, all the dots and or all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed as far as those templates are designed. So it's really been a great help to helping my partners build solutions on our tech, and AZD just makes it that much easier. So great to hear that more, the awesome awesome AZD repo is also going to be folded in. That'll be something I'll look forward to.
Awesome. That's all so great to hear. Chris, I got to write you, I don't know, some peer feedback for your fostering of spreading the good word of AZD across Microsoft.
I love it. Hey, I would like to jump in, and this isn't AZD specific, but I wanted to share something that we have coming up. Oh thanks. There's the link. Thanks, Hailey. So we have done an Azure Developer Day in the past, and it was focused on .NET. We have one coming up in September that is focused on Python. So we're going to have a whole day dedicated to Python sessions. We're going to talk about app development. We're going to talk about some AI scenarios. We're going to talk about a number of things. And we've had the best time going through all the submissions that we've had for sessions that people would like to present. There's some great sessions that we're going to be showing. And we really would love to see some people come, learn about what Microsoft is doing with Python on Azure and the types of things that you can do, because it's frankly, it's amazing. We provide a ton of support for Python, and I don't think that people necessarily recognize that unless they're already in the Python space and using Azure. So hopefully this will give people a chance to see what's possible and get inspired by some of the solutions. And some of these things aren't Azure specific, they're kind of open source approaches to solving problems, and we just deploy them to Azure. So even if you're not an Azure customer, there's still some great things to learn. So I definitely encourage you to come check it out.
I am so glad that you thought to plug this here, because I mean, Python is near and dear to my heart. So and I run this community call, so I can plug Python all I want. Sky's the limit. No, I love all programming languages. Python's special to me. Cool. That's super exciting. When's the schedule for the talks going to be published? Do you all have a date for that yet?
I think it's actually going to be this week.
I'm seeing Hailey go. Hailey, can I bring you on the thing? See, okay. This is Hailey.
What's up?
You are pointing right now.
Yes. So today we are sending out the approvals for the sessions. There will be an Azure SDK, not an SDK session, AZD session. Savannah will be hosting a session there. Congrats.
I didn't know this yet, folks, so I'm just finding out in this call. So, okay, apparently I'm giving a session on September 7th.
Yes. So yeah, September 7th, all day. It's a virtual conference. It's going to be awesome. So the sessions are coming out this week. We're just sending out approvals right now. So get excited. A lot of AI stuff happening. I'm excited for those sessions too.
Sweet.
Yeah, and Grace was talking about Pamela Fox and some of the things that she's done for AZD. So Pamela's got a session that she's going to be doing too. He tends to kind of get intertwined in just about everything Pamela works on, that I've seen. So it's great. And she's just a great presenter too. So it'll be great to have her. I mean,
the .NET Day conference was super awesome. So I'm really excited to see us do one for Python. And I'm sure that the roster of talks will be stacked. So definitely check that out.
So yeah, register link below right here, and it's in the chat as well.
Sweet. you have it put together, folks. Thanks for calling that out. Okay. I think that's just that pretty much that's it. I think that's pretty much what we had for this month's community call. I'll give folks like 3 more seconds to pop questions in the chat. But as always, if you don't have questions right now and you have questions between now and the next community call next month after our next release, definitely reach out to us on GitHub or on Twitter. I'm taking a social media hiatus right now, so if you ping me there, I probably won't respond. Find me on GitHub or LinkedIn if you want. But yeah, definitely let us know what you think of the features we shipped in 1.2.0. We look forward to talking to you after 1.3.0 at the beginning of September. Very cool. All right. Well, thanks, friends, for joining. And I will see you all next call.
Sounds great. Thanks, Savannah. Thanks, Grace, for having us.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for coming. Bye.
Bye.